Welcome to another early edition to We-On-Loc Nation channel. I'm not going to be on here very long. I'm just going to go ahead and get right down to the quick. We have another situation where it could be a standoff between, once again, black and white supremacists versus the black hole, if you call it, basically a race war. Um, there has been a situation down in Texas. Uh, newly hired attorneys for a Carmelo Anthony accused of stabbing teen track star Austin Metcalf to death, which he was only stabbed once. Um, Stabbed to death at a race meet in Francisco, Texas. This was, I believe, last week. Last week, are asking the public to be patient and not rush into judgment onto this case. Basically, what the situation is, Carmelo was sitting at a park bench. Some twins, Austin Metcalf and his twin brother, apparently went up to the gentleman, um, Carmelo Anthony, because they believe he was sitting on their team bench, and they asked him to remove himself, and he said in these quote unquote words, "Touch me and see what happens." Now, I would say let the story build upon itself. We haven't gotten the full evidence of what had happened yet. There was a scruffle, and the next thing you know, he uh, Austin Metcalf was stabbed in the chest near the heart and died instant death. Now the young man, Carmelo Anthony, was still on the same campus, had allegedly turned himself in and said, "I was performing in self-defense." Now, I do not know the laws in uh, Francisco, Texas. I don't know the laws in Texas, period, but I know allegedly it's a stand your ground law, which means a knife at a certain point, if it's 5 or more inches, it's not illegal. As a matter of fact, it's legal. How it is used, it's proceeding your interpretation, but in a court of law, we won't know until we get to that point. However, the young man was pretty much touched, and there was a scruffle, and somehow Carmelo stabbed this man because he felt he was being threatened. Now, there are going to be some people out there that said that this man should get life in prison or he should unalive himself, which is the most foolish thing I could that why would that even come out your lips? And then there's the other side of it where Carmelo Anthony is pertained to be innocent. Now he might be charged with the knife, but when it comes to the self-defense part, he might go off. But then again, that's not how white supremacy works. But let me not stray forth. Let me go ahead and get to my, let me see here. And I want to give a big shout out to, of course, Jason Black and the Black Authority for hopping on this investigation, hopping on this story, and basically telling it like it is. Let's listen.
Usual, the white supremacists come in completely refuting all the things that they've said in previous cases. Now, all of a sudden, getting assaulted. You have, as long as you're white, you have a right to assault people. If you're white, it's self-defense no matter how you do it. If you're black, you can't stand your ground, you can't defend yourself, you can't anything. Unfortunately for them, we have a big enough megaphone here to talk back against that. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can take a few calls here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Sakina here on Zoom. Now, for everyone who's on Zoom, please keep in mind, I just need you to just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues. I just need you to make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on, just so we don't have any trolling issues. No one else will see you except for me. So I'm not going to put you on the screen so that the internet can see you. However, I, as the host, go Sakina. We're so glad to see you. Make sure you turn your microphone on for me, ma'am. All right, Sakina. And where are you calling from?
Providence, Rhode Island.
All right. And would you be Native American?
Yes.
All right. And what is on your mind?
I was just calling to I had just heard about this story, and I didn't really read too much into it because I know how they do us, but it makes more sense as to how you described it, that he was defending himself.
I mean, there wasn't anything to read into it. If this had been in any other incident, any other time, they wouldn't have said anything. What they're letting you know is that, A, we see a way we can use this as white supremacist propaganda, and a case that Megyn Kelly and these other degenerates never would have said anything about. All of a sudden, this is a cause for them. So that's how you know, okay, this is not about what the case is.
Let's try this again. Well, matter of fact, we can go on to another video because I don't know why YouTube does this. I'm really starting to hate YouTube. I am really starting to hate YouTube. Let's go on to another.
Carmelo allegedly pulled a knife.
They ask him to move, and when asking, when Austin grabbed his backpack to move, take it, he stabbed him in the chest and killed him.
What does he do? He goes and touches the kid again. And sure enough, this is the ultimate for what it seems, F-A-F-O. F around and found out, and he found out, and now he's no longer with us. And for some reason, I'm supposed to feel bad about this. And just so we're clear, if the races were reversed, I'd say the same thing. But at the same time, I don't know a lot of black kids that if someone else were to reach into their bag and say, hey, you come at me again, and you know, see what happens. I don't know a lot of black kids who go, okay.
I don't know why people want to continuously do or just if they're all about we're living the same America. We live in the same America. We have jobs. We have opportunity. The world may change. I believe I said this a dozen times. The world may change, but the scenario always remains the same. The world may change, but the scenario always remains the same. White people are up at the top, and the black will always remain on the bottom. Oh, it's all good. Oh, it's totally all good until it's not. It's cool when you do it. It's wrong when I do it. You ever heard of that? You ever heard of those things? It's cool when you do it. It's wrong when I do it. It's cool when a white boy goes to a grocery store with a gun on his hip. It's cool. It's perfectly cool. But it's wrong for a black kid who feels some type of endangerment. Not a whole lot, but it's like, F around and find out, right? Don't engage. my whole point of this, in my perspective, if you feel that this was a problem, why didn't you get security? Oh, people are going to say, why did it, like officer Tantrum, Officer Tantrum, like like the Amazing Lucas would call them. Officer Tantrum will say, why would why would this black man, mind you, he's black himself, why would this black man have a blade in his backpack? The same reason why a white boy would go to a grocery store with a gun on his hip. Is it registered? We don't know. Of course, they're gonna put this young man up. They're gonna put Carmelo Anthony up with a gun up with it. It always works in white folks' favor. But they don't check the opposite side. I mean, we can go horizontal with these things all day. With uh uh Jordan Davis, Antoine Martin. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. The Dylan Roof situation. Where was your heartfelt sentiment for the men and women who got destroyed at that church? When the white boy Dylan Roof went in there, prayed for about an hour, and massacred 9 other people. It's always something. I've heard it. I've heard it throughout the YouTuber sphere, and it seems unfair, but this is what we live through. This is the type of thing that we live through each and every single day of our lives as black folks. But let me see if this is working.
So we have a guy who pulled out a knife prior to any physical altercation. First of all, he already committed a crime, let's be clear about that, by bringing the knife to this school event in the first place. But he pulls it out after being told he's not allowed to sit in the tent that doesn't correspond to his school because he found that to be disrespectful. That's me speculating on motive right there. Let's be clear about that. Then he tries to bait Austin Metcalf into a physical altercation, which he immediately escalates to.
Bait? How does he bait? He's just sitting there. Oh, when you mean he said, F around and find out, do not put your hands on me? Don't put your hands on them. Call security.
A deadly force altercation, and now he's trying to claim, and his father's trying to claim, and a bunch of different various activists are trying to claim it, that he was not the aggressor. He's just it's a Baba Angel Aladdin who was defending himself, and you can't really expect him as a young black man and age 17 to understand that you're not allowed to stab somebody over a dispute on whether or not you're allowed to sit under a specific tent. Now, of course, we talked about.
Okay, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to look at the left and the right response to this high school track meet tragedy. We're looking at the amazing Lucas and his video, Racist Furious, as Carmelo Anthony happened on this fateful day.
Arrest documents show more than 30 students under Frisco Memorial's pop-up tent at a track meet Wednesday morning. Metcalf told Anthony he needed to move. Then Anthony grabbed his bag, reached inside, and said, quote, touch me and see what happens. The documents say a short time later, Metcalf grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. Later telling an officer at the scene, I'm not alleged, I did it. He put his hands on me, I told him not to. Anthony's bond was set at $1 million.
Now, if convicted, Anthony is facing up to 99 years in prison. But we have the self-defense argument. Now, when it comes to self-defense, there's one key concept here that I think this case is going to focus on, and that's the concept of proportionality. An extreme example of proportionality would be bringing a gun to a pillow fight. That's why the law requires that that if you're going to use deadly physical force against someone else, the requirement is that you have a reasonable belief that they're going to use deadly physical force against you. Since this is Texas, here's Texas Penal Code, Section 9.32, deadly force in defense of person. Now, I'm not going to read the whole statute, but this statute lays out the requirements for somebody employing deadly physical force in a self-defense scenario. This is Texas law understanding that concept of proportionality. You can use deadly physical force against someone only if you reasonably think that they're using deadly physical force against you. Now, who makes that determination of what's reasonable in that? That's the jury. So now you have understanding of the law and you have an understanding of the facts. Now, I also have to put out this quick legal note because someone's going to watch this video and say, hey, I'm in the same situation. I watched this video and that was my legal advice. So obviously, this is not legal advice. I'm speaking in extreme generalities here. So if you need a lawyer for a self-defense claim, you need to find somebody in your local area familiar with the local laws. Now, with all that being said, let's look at how commentators on both.
Not only do I find this interesting, because we go through this all the time and time again, I find it to be quite tragic because we're talking about teenagers. But then again, like I said, white supremacy is everywhere. And I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. But first and foremost, I want to thank Miss Chicago for coming in. Calvin Booker, hello. Nightish, what up, and Montrese. Let's get it in. Let me see if this is actually working or not. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to go. If you make sure you're subscribed and get the notifications, just in case I come on. If I don't come on, this is just short notice because everybody's just. I mean, this is what, 4 days ago. So everybody and their mama is covering this. And if you feel generous, be a member of the We-On-Loc Nation channel. Let's get into it.
It's about something else.
Right. And that bail is ridiculous. I didn't even realize that. That's crazy.
For a 17-year-old in Frisco, Texas, he's not a flight risk. You can't stand your ground. You can't defend yourself. You can't anything. Unfortunately for them, we have a big enough megaphone here to talk back against that. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can take a few calls here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Sakina here on Zoom. Now, for everyone who's on Zoom, please keep in mind, I just need you to make sure we don't have any trolling issues. I just need to make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on, just so we don't have any trolling issues. No one else will see you except for me. So I'm not going to put you on the screen so that the internet can see you. However, I, as the host, I need to be able to see you just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues. So, Sakina, I will give you 5 seconds to go ahead. Make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. No one else is going to see you except for me, but just to ensure we don't have any trolling issues. We just need to make sure we have that. I'll give you 2 more seconds, Sakina, and then permanent vacation. There you go, Sakina. We're so glad to see you. Make sure you turn your microphone on for me, ma'am. All right, Sakina. And what is on? Where are you calling from?
Providence, Rhode Island.
All right. And would you be Native American?
Yes.
All right. Right. And what is on your mind?
I was just calling to. I had just heard about this story, and I didn't really read too much into it because I know how they do us. But it makes more sense as to how you described it, that he was defending himself.
I mean, there wasn't anything to read into it. If this had been any other incident, any other time, they wouldn't have said anything. What they're letting you know is that, hey, we see a way we can use this as white supremacist propaganda. And in case that Nick and Kelly and these other degenerates never would have said anything about, all of a sudden this is a cause for them. So that's how you know, oh, okay, this is not about what the case is about. This is about something else.
Right. And that bail is ridiculous. I didn't even realize that. That's crazy.
$1 million bail. $1 million bail for this kid? Think about it. Think about it. Think real hard. What was the bail for Dylan Roof? $1 million for this kid? For Carmelo Anthony? What you know why they do that? Because they know that black folks don't possess that type of a money. But then again, if we really cared enough, we would have put the brother up some type of bond. But then that's a different story for a different day. He does have a GoFundMe that white folks are trying so desperately to remove to have him get a decent lawyer for his defense. You're trying to remove something that this young man is going to need when he goes to court, when he goes stand for trial. That is insane.
For a 17-year-old in Frisco, Texas, he's not a flight risk. Where is he going? How would he get there? He didn't fight the police or anything. So he just is what he is. He's a model student. And when they got a hold of him, it was business as usual. So of course, but this is to make a point.
According to the sources, Carmelo Anthony scored a 3.7 on his GPA, basically close to a 4 point. Good grades in school, not too much of a troubled young man, but yet this is how society would spin it. Just because he had a gun, he showed a picture with a gun in his hand. But we don't show white folks with guns in their hands. How ironic.
That's what this is for. This is to make a point.
Yeah.
And to let you know that we are going to do you however we want to do you. We have no rights. And yeah, we're going to make it flagrant. Remember, it's not power if you can't abuse it.
Ooh,
it's not power if it doesn't have an abusive element. And they let me know we're the ones in charge. So get ready to get abused. The only problem is they put such a big spotlight on this now. I think this is where it turns negative for you. I'll let you have the last word.
No, I mean, actually, you summed it up good. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this call. We appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Maurice up here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and see if we can grab Maurice up here on Zoom. Yeah, like I said, this is just a regular incident here. It's very sad, but there was nothing special about this. But the white supremacists seized on it, which means they see something special. And what they see is, okay, let's see if we can have a lynching, because in the era of Trump, let's see how much we can get away with. Now, once again, for everybody on Zoom, please make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on for me, just so we don't have any trolling. No one else will see you except for me, so the internet will not see you, but I need to make sure that you have your camera and microphone turned on, just so we don't have any trolling issues. Maurice, I'll give you 5 seconds to go ahead and get that rectified for me here, or else we're going to have to move on. So we'll give you a few more seconds here. I can give you 2 more seconds to get that rectified, Maurice, then we have to move on. All right. Maurice is not going to be joining us. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Carlton up here on Zoom. Carlton, make sure you have your camera and microphone turned on for me here. Don't worry, the rest of you two will not see you. I'll be the only one who does. Just make sure we don't have any trolling issues. So, folks, if you're on Zoom, please make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on here. All right, Carlton, what's on your mind? Where are you
Yes.
Where are you calling from?
I am in Jefferson City, Missouri, and I just wanted to thank you for this presentation, because I've been waiting to see a point of view that has not been presented by the media, and you presented several facts that really led to some clarity here. And I just wanted to say that I do not believe that this is going to end up in a conviction, because the evidence is just not there. And it seems to me that stand your ground and his self-defense claim should hold true. So I just wanted to thank you again for an excellent presentation. And I will be reaching out to my family in the Texas area to find out what the sentiment is from the Black communities. So thank you again. I really enjoyed the show, and we need to really stay on top of this and push this message out.
Yeah, because this is symbolic. This was nothing that really needs to be jumped on like that, but you can tell when you're dealing with a case that is symbolic of attacking all of us as a group. You can tell they make it so damn blatant because they have to. That's the way terrorism works. They just made it so blatant that this is not about Carmelo Anthony. This is about all of you. This is about our ability to get all of you. Thank you very much for giving us a call now. We appreciate that. Go ahead and get Isaac.
And I just thought of something. If we really were equals here in the United States of America, if we really stand out, why does this bail have to be $1 million? That's just what I was just thinking to myself. And Jason is right when he says this is not just for one example. We're gonna put you all as examples for extermination. We're gonna continuously get you to talk about it, constantly get you to fight amongst each other. This is their plan. This is their plan, unfortunately. It's unfortunate that this happened, and this is not too much of a big ordeal because we hear about this all the time, but we already know what this is going to turn out to. What up, Greg?
Isaac up here on Zoom. Let me get Isaac on Zoom. All right, Isaac, and what's on your mind? Where you coming from?
It's not Phoenix, Arizona.
All right. Isaac from Phoenix, what's on your mind?
No, I just wanted to say, I'm pretty young. I got two things to say real quick. So I actually ran track freshman year. I was varsity. I'm actually a varsity freshman year. And you talked about the coach. And let me say, when I ran track, the coaches would have been the first person involved. So yeah, where was the coach in this whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's like if you're playing football or whatever, you don't just go and go grab nobody. I'm from Louisiana. Right. You don't just go grab the teams. Even if they're on your side of the field, you don't just go grab folk and start swinging on them. You don't do that. I mean, you'll get kicked off the team. I'm glad you made that point. These are football players doing something like school would grab you and say, hey, you don't do that. So in this case here, nobody did that. I'm like, why are we not mentioning that, Megan Ku Klux Kelly? Why are we not mentioning that? For those of us who played sports, well, I didn't play sports as much as I probably should have, but for those who have played it or come from big sports towns, you know that's standard procedure. Anybody in gym class, forget playing sports. If you were in gym class, you can't do that. If something like that happened, I don't care how big man on campus you are, you're supposed to get a coach. You don't take things into your own hands. You never do that, ever. Now, what made them feel like that was the thing to do?
Megan Kelly, I think she's the reporter for Fox News. Let's see what she had to say in the matter.
Vicious media sociopath.
Attending Frisco's Memorial High School. His twin brother Hunter was there as well. He went to sit down and found another student in his seat from the sound of it and said, that's my seat or something to that effect. And that other student reportedly turned around and stabbed him in the heart.
Now, this is absolutely not what happened. She is not just leaving things out, but she is changing up exactly what occurred. So she is, of course, a vicious liar because she wants to go ahead and get the lie out there first, and then you have to go research the truth. And just like with Daniel Penny, they'll just keep repeating the lie again. Like Donald Trump, they'll just keep saying it because, remember, white supremacy can't stand on its own. As soon as you see it, everyone rejects it. So, of course, she immediately resorts to an outrageous lie and just says, he said, hey, can you get out of my seat? And he just gets stabbed. You just notice. So, in other words, what she's saying is the crazy nigga accusation. 17-year-old 3.7 GPA, black honor roll student, and hey, can you get out of my? Hey, sir. I am just a good Christian Mormon missionary from the love of Jesus Christ. Might I have my seat? Ah! According to her, that's what occurred. So, of course, obviously, what makes them despicable scum is things like this. If you're going to talk about the event, then just relay what happened of the event. Oh, if you relay what happened of the event, you can't turn this into a white supremacist propaganda. So she's using the dead body of this teenager to promote white supremacy. Despicable, shameless.
I don't really. I mean, he's basically saying pretty much that I would say, although I would say, this is the reason why I don't watch Fox. This is the reason why I don't watch Fox is because they promote Megyn Kelly, they promote Sean Hannity. I don't watch these people. Where's Bill O'Reilly when you need him?
Reprehensible.
This kid who got killed was 17. He had a 4.0. He was a football star. Sorry. And
the kid that he attacked got pretty much the same GPA. Does she mention that? All hands up. You think she was going to mention that or not? And also, this was a track meet. Let me remind you one more time. This was a track meet. As you can see, well, you can't see here. These trophies he has here are for football. So Justin, over here on the right, well, he's a football player, not a track runner. He's a football player. And yet he was at this track event. So once again, notice Megyn is not pointing any of this out to put in this proper context. Hey, this football player and his football brother were at a track event. The Anthony over there on the left, he's the one who runs track.
Quite interesting. But they both play football, right? Carmelo Anthony's a track runner. Austin Metcalf is a football player, him and his twin brother, right? What up, Theory? It's been a long time, Theory. What's happening? What's happening? Now, if I'm just sitting at a game minding my own business, it's like I said before, if this was a threat, and we're going to get to the coons in the matter in a minute, because this is utterly ridiculous at this point. Utterly ridiculous. We haven't even gone through the full investigation yet. We just know what we know from 4 days ago. The man hasn't even gone to court. Now, if he gets tried and convicted, he's going to serve 5 to 99 years in prison, if convicted. Talking about Carmelo.
So these two football players ran up on a track runner at a track meet. And Megyn Kelly isn't saying any of this to you. Of course she's a white supremacist scum. Of course she is. We've told you this for years. Of course she is. When Roland Martin was trying to defend her. Of course she is. We have remained completely consistent about this. And the longer she goes, the more consistent she is.
he was dead, it seems, very soon thereafter. His twin brother held him as he died and was barely able to speak about it. And the father, who seems like an extraordinary man, Michael, comes out and speaks to the cameras about what happened to his son. Here's a bit of Austin's dad. Take a listen. This happened Wednesday. They have a suspect in custody, identified by police as Carmelo Anthony, a 17-year-old student.
Oh, hey, what's up?
What's up? I'm not going to be doing panels right now. What What I'm gonna probably be doing sometime tomorrow. And we're gonna be talking about
Okay.
the same subject.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's continue.
Student at Frisco Centennial High School. He was taken into custody on a murder charge. His bond has not yet been set.
She didn't say anything about his GPA. She didn't say anything about his academic achievement. She didn't say anything about the fact that he was in line for scholarships. She didn't say any of that. She skipped right over it. Do you realize what a monstrous subhuman animal you have to be a white supremacist, to be Megyn Kelly? You have to understand that. There's very little daylight between the Adolf Hitlers and the Megyn Kellys. They are flagrant animalistic beasts. They attack children. They target children. This is what they do. This is what they've always done.
And ain't this the same woman that told LeBron James to shut up and dribble? This is the same woman, right?
They are beyond humanity. They are beyond civilized behavior. They are beyond anything that we would even remotely describe as human. And by beyond it, I mean beneath it. These are the subhuman animalistic scum that walk among us, which is why white supremacy is, has been, and will always be the greatest threat to mankind, much less civilized man. And this is why they'll pay them millions of dollars to make sure that white supremacy is well funded.
And indicated on social media pages that he had been offered scholarships to play football for several smaller schools. This is just incredible. So he had some sort of hope in front of him, the suspect, Carmelo Anthony, that he played football. And then on social media, at least, he was claiming that he'd been offered scholarships to play football for several smaller schools. And now this other kid, who appears to be completely innocent of doing no more than asking to have his seat, is dead at age 17 with nothing but promise lying in front of him and in the arms of his own twin brother. There's an element to this that must be mentioned, and that is that the assailant was black and the victim was white. And one thing that's very obvious to all of us is if the races were reversed, you wouldn't just be hearing about this on this show and a handful of others. It would be blanketing the national airwaves coast. But it's not, because honestly, white boys' lives don't matter.
So understand something. She is doing her Carolyn Bryant to Emmett Till.
That was.
If you want to know why it was so important and so dastardly that batch department, their so-called Justice Department with their civil rights bedwench, by the way, we will not forget about her either. When they sat up here and did that mess, there was a reason why it was so imperative that we go after Carolyn Bryant. It was very imperative because they understand the optics of this kind of thing.
I'm going to stop it right here. Now, let's get into the coon of the matter. I had to clear my throat. These three knuckleheads. I can't stand these three. Usually there's four. Let's hear what they have to say upon the matter.
It's his faith that's keeping him strong.
And when I kissed his forehead today, as his body was cold, I ran my fingers through his hair. I told him it's not goodbye. It's see you later. I'll join you at some point too, son. You just beat me to this place.
Wednesday night, the family stood open doors for the community to gather for a prayer vigil to honor a young man whose life touched so many.
Well, I know he's with the Lord. And I take comfort and peace in that.
In our conversation, Jeff mentioned that he hopes his son's death brings changes to security so no other parent has to go through this. Memorial High School will honor Austin tomorrow during second period, and counselors will be available
Nah, bro,
Honestly,
I almost shed a tear.
no, dead ass.
This
Like
shit crazy.
this like put that kid, Carmelo, put him under the jail. I don't want him to. I want his life to be over. Personally, me personally,
so-
watching this, I don't think that he should be given any grace.
The story here is
so allegedly this will happen.
yeah, that's what I was going to tell him.
He pulls up. The brothers pull up. They tell Carmelo move. He says no, make me. So the brother who got stabbed picked his backpack up to move his backpack, and Carmelo stabbed him in the chest. All because they say that Carmelo was in the wrong place. He stabbed someone in the chest. What
they on
kind
the
of
same
shit
team?
is that? No, they went to two different high schools.
It was looked like it was under the tent.
That's what I kept showing. That was just where it happened, like in the stands at the track meet. They didn't go to the same school. One of them went to Memorial. One of them went to Centennial.
See, yeah, that's weird. They keep showing the tent. They got the tape around it.
Yeah, just showing where it happened.
He was in. It seems like he was in his team's area.
They were in the team's area, correct? The other kid was in the wrong place. They said you got to move. He said, "Make me move." He picked his backpack up to make a move. He stabbed him in the chest.
Under his team area. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, so this is something Memorial.
Like we're not
Frisco
really want to
Memorial
say.
and Frisco
I
Centennial.
truly can't say.
Yeah, don't say
on
it,
this channel, bro.
I'm not gonna lie, like I could really go hard right now.
I feel insanely hard.
But I promise you, my black card will be revoked. But unfortunately,
your black card has already been revoked.
Unfortunately,
but
I want no mercy for that kid.
I'm looking at like a brother's standpoint because I have a brother, and the fact that the twin brother went
I have a
through
twin.
that, yeah, that's crazy.
I know what it's like. You go everywhere with that person.
Sport event, like they rode the bus to the track meet, like it's just insane. This kid went throughout the school day, and for something like this to happen.
Listen,
like altercations happen all the time.
Listen,
no arguments.
Listen, you stab someone.
You could have
I'm
just
sorry.
put your hands up,
I'm sorry.
bro.
Unfortunately,
Crazy, bro.
His life needs to be over, and there's just there's no other way to put it. This is disgusting. I don't feel nothing for this person.
So we don't know all the facts yet. We just know what we know based on the reports. But there's no footage. There's no footage. There's no footage of what we seen other than the so-called witnesses, quote unquote, the so-called witnesses that were at that football game. But yet you want his life to be over. This is what I'm talking about. When I say this is some coonerish bullshit, oh, this is nothing. The tip of the iceberg bullshit. I haven't even played Officer Tatum's live yet, but I know somebody else that obviously does a bunch of what do you call them? Coon videos about Officer Tatum. And the amazing Lucas, shouts out to the amazing Lucas, go onto his channel, subscribe to his channel. He does an amazing job going into details. I don't even want to listen to these suckers anymore because they're just often disgusting. But the amazing Lucas is incredibly an incredible genius when it comes to telling the truth. Let's listen.
To defend white people. They've been hired by white people, and so their prime objective is to defend white people at all costs. So when you get stories like Carmelo Anthony, this is where they make their money. This is how they make their living. And regardless of what the context is of the story, their primary focus, like I said, is to defend white people. So they will belittle, they will, castigate, they will deride, they will, do anything in their power to frame the black person, whether they're victim or not, as bad. They are bad. And what we're seeing right now,
another thing, a serious lack of a code.
200K. So kudos to him. If you haven't supported his Go Send Me, I would definitely check that out. They are now screaming and crying about, you guessed it, black people. That's what they're doing. It's a playbook as old as time. It's very much goes back to mandatory manumission, where they reward black people for snitching on possible rebellions and revolts and individuals who wanted freedom.
Wake up, nigga.
This now is a business, and it's a business that is highly promoted. Saying first and foremost, you have Brandon Tantrum. Now, the reason why we call him Tantrum, the veneer of his, I'm one of the ones to fall apart when Hotep Jesus, pushed some buttons, and then all of a sudden, the ignorant came out.
I'm done. Oh, man. Crime bill. They created the crime bill.
The one yelling like a little troll is Officer Brandon Tatum right there in the bottom. The white boy down there. Yeah. Now
they created. I'm done, bro. You a fake nigga. I appreciate it, fake, bro. I'm gonna expose you to everybody. And when I see you, nigga, it's gonna be on. I want you to know that. When you call me on the phone and you saying all this, and then you playing this shit. You should be a black crime? Is that black on black crime? You's a bitch. I told you. Everybody on your live stream know you's a bitch, and when I see you, I'm whooping your ass. Everybody got it on live stream. I like
it. It's like he's struggling trying to pick up a weight. Yeah, this dude talk like he's struggling picking up a weight. I see you.
You said you apologize?
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Now, that being said, he comes out and says, oh, what's going on with black people? Why are they supporting this guy? He's going to be found guilty, yada, 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 yada.
Let me show you very clearly why I think this is a problem and why this is a racial issue.
And the issue that I find, because it's always funny when, an officer of 6 years try to give his faux understanding of the law, because most officers don't understand the law. They understand how to utilize the law to arrest you. That's the extent of their law. But when it comes down to it, his presumption of his whole display is based off of the belief that he believes that Anthony stabbed this person in the heart intentionally.
If you didn't intend to kill the guy, but you should know that stabbing somebody in the heart could cause serious damage, serious bodily injury to that person, and is clearly negligent and is dangerous to human life.
Wait a minute. Time out. How if I'm in a scruffle, with somebody, how will I know if I'm going to immediately stab this person in the heart? I ain't got time to be like, hold still, sir, while I stab you in the heart. I ain't got time for all that. It's the same thing as nobody's gonna stand there and have you do a karate stance. And it's like, hold still while I It doesn't work that way. Life does not work that way. It's like a real situation, a real fight ends in 10 seconds. Your life can end in 10 seconds. It's like pretty much like this. We're just, unless I'm a professional, and the one thing I know how to do as a professional is walk away, to not even escalate the situation. I walk away. But if I'm truly in danger, if I'm backed into a corner, the only way to go through is through you. And then I have to do what I have to do. But then other than that, I'm not going to sit I'm not going to waste my time, even when I'm sitting down, and I turn, grab my knife out of my backpack, turn, and just stab you in the heart. Life don't work that way. I'm so sorry.
There's no data, there's no evidence, there's no facts and evidence, as I say, that leads to that conclusion aside from black person bad, right? That's all there is. That's what they run off. We've seen this time and time again. When it comes to Breonna Taylor, he's tried to do the same thing. When it comes to George Floyd, he's tried to do the same thing. When it comes to a litany of people, okay, Trayvon Martin, the list goes on, unfortunately. This is what they do.
I miss you like a hog miss fly.
Now, I will say the only thing that I see that they may get him on is with the knife. From what I've read, it's been a pocket knife, and the pocket knife is legal under state code. In school grounds, it's illegal. So they may get him on that. But he can be found guilty of I think it's like a misdemeanor for the pocket knife, and being found innocent of manslaughter and murder. Tantrum is trying to do is say that, hey, he's guilty of all the above because he finds him guilty on
now,
murder.
Like I said, if convicted, that's 5 to 99 years in prison with the possibility of parole. But these people are trying to give him life without the possibility of parole.
Or manslaughter. Now, this is all based off of this not being a self-defense. If they find him that he was actually defending himself, which is what a family member has said, that there's video evidence suggesting that, right? Once again, I want you to understand, he's just spitting off the top of his head from a perspective that black person bad. That's all he's doing to appease his white race.
Skin color.
This now leads us to the next one, which is Rob Bushy Smith. The reason why we call him Rob Bushy Smith is that he was kicked out.
This agate. Notice I didn't say the full word.
Of the Republican Party due to him being a homosexual.
So the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists wanted me out of the Republican Party, and guess what? I'm out.
But at the end of the day, he has to get a check, right? He has rent due, just like everyone else.
For Carmelo Anthony, who's a 17-year-old black kid that killed the 17-year-old white kid. And let me tell you something, black people, you have a serious lack of accountability culture, because only a people that have zero accountability would literally take money out of their own pockets to set up a GoFundMe and to send money to a young man that killed another man.
How much are lawyers nowadays? Anybody know in the chat? Anybody know how much lawyers are? Does anybody know? Does anybody know how much lawyers are? Get back at me.
Now, I find this hysterical, them bringing up accountability when we have January 6th. We have white people who are abusing officers, violating officers, urinating on the floor, defecating on the walls, a litany of just degenerate behavior, and there's no accountability for that. For us, all we're concerned.
Oh, so it's 100K, right? So already he raised past that. Carmelo Anthony is raised over past that. Okay, they're trying to get over to 200K because they're trying to get the best defense lawyer possible. But now that I know, okay.
It wasn't an insurrection. It was nothing more than a tourist attraction. So, but once again, that's a privilege they're allowed to have. Black people always have to be held accountable. There's never a point in time in the history of this country where black people haven't been held accountable. That doesn't exist. Damn. So I find it a bit. We see this. We then go into the Coon twins, right? And they talk about, I don't know what's wrong with black people, blah, 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 blah. It's always, they don't know what's wrong with black people. That's the funny part. It's always, I don't know what's going on with black people this, black people that. They'll never speak this way of white people.
Miss you like a hog miss fly, like a baby. Miss mammy titty.
And I want people to understand that this is exclusive.
They have to charge him with something. They have to charge you with something. And if and when you go to court, if they feel that if self-defense is justified, they'll release it off your record, hands down.
To black people, because this stems from slavery. It just is what it is. A lot of these people who want to take slavery happened in the past. Yeah, sure. So did the Holocaust, but you would never say that to them.
He's out of line, but he's right.
But a lot of these people from slavery, they had children. Like I say, the lineage of evil. You have this slave master mentality that these people have. So they have done the same thing that their slave masters did. They employed, the coons of the black populace to do their dirty work. And what that does is allows for racists to not be seen as racist, because now they have a black face, and that's what they're doing. They're using like you.
Ding, 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 ding. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. Oh, the truth hurts. Oh, the truth hurts.
Utilize them for their black skin, nothing more and nothing less, because half of these people have are extremely unintelligent, extremely low IQs, that if they were to have the same beliefs but be on the liberal side, they would call them every name of the book. But because they are utilizing their skin color for their financial gain or for their political gain, and their empowerment was empowered. They're good. They're one of the good ones. They're a free thinker.
Wake up, nigga.
And they use their skin color as a shield. Because if you have these black people who are saying all this anti-black stuff, you now get to offload any type of guilt or any type of accusation onto them. It's like, I'm not saying it. The black person's saying it. It comes to them being upset that black people supporting themselves. And here's the thing. I don't know why you would be so upset. If you think he's guilty, then what does it matter? What does it matter what I do with my money? If I want to support him, then I should be able to support him. But they never do this for anyone else who is not black. They never do this. Kyle Rittenhouse was a hero, even though he did everything wrong under the book, right?
I always go back to Dylan Roof for some strange reason, because after he got arrested, where did they take him? They took him down to the station. No, they didn't take him down to the station. They took him to Burger King because he said he was hungry. Said he was hungry. Said he was hungry. Great job, Lucas. Great job. Great job. Great job. He said he was hungry. Those two white boys, Ahmaud Arbery was caught, dilly dabbling around a project area, right? That everybody was doing the exact same thing. But of course, there's spies everywhere. Spies everywhere, and all of a sudden, white people's like, "Well, what is he doing here?" The Karen type move. What the hell is he doing here? Excuse me, this man right here is violating an area that hasn't even been built. Don't worry, we're gonna go ahead and get our scope rifles. We're gonna get that going there. So they went and chased him down. He ran around the truck. Next thing you know, fires him point blank range in his chest. Ahmaud Arbery goes down. Point blank, period, end of discussion. But you got Officer Coonhead, Officer Tatum, saying that the shooting was justified. Wow. So like I said, we don't know. We have both sides, right? We have both sides saying that it's wrong. He should have just got up out of his seat. Then you got the other side that's saying that he didn't do anything wrong. He was just defending himself. A seat is a seat. If you feel like he's on the opposing side, on the side of the opposing team, why not call security? If it was that bad, you had to be that big bag and bowl. White privilege. It's my world. It's my world. A squirrel trying to get a nut. I'm not saying that he was justifying on being stabbed, but then again, white supremacy is white supremacy. That's just how I fucking feel about it. Because if you touch me, you put your hands on me, you don't know what I'm capable of doing. But then again, like I said, it's cool when a white boy comes around a public place like a Walmart and he sees a little boy with a gun. A little boy with a toy gun, you mean? Oh, I forgot a toy gun. Yeah, a toy gun. And he gets shot and killed. Okay. Yeah, we awesome for that. We awesome for that one. We love to pick and choose as human beings. And this is the reason why I say I rather be with my own, because I know who's my enemy. My enemy is my friend. My enemy is my friend. What does that mean? It means keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Because if I'm around a whole bunch of white, has anybody ever thought, why would he have a knife in his book bag? Maybe he's been threatened a few times or more. Has anybody thought about that? In my opinion, has anybody stopped to think what goes on with this young man? Right? But white people have an awesome family. Normally, 8 times out of 10, little boys and little girls are growing up in single parent homes. There's very few guidance and directions that we give our children. And this is the reason why me and Craig were arguing last night. I said, my obligation is not only to my family, my children, but it's obligated to yours as well. This is the argument that I was explaining to two men that were sitting there arguing last night. But I don't even want to go into more of the tangent. I don't even want to go on the tangent because, again, we don't know anything right now. We only know what is being presented right now to this day. We only know that what was his name? Austin being stabbed. There was a scuffle, and he did, most importantly, he did not run. He said to the officer, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. He did it anyway. He grabbed my bag. There was a scruffle, and then pulled a knife out. Does anybody care to think? Oh, well, let me not go into that. He grabbed the knife, and he just had one time, and then backed away because he knew. Well, the other brother had came up. The other brother had came up, and by the time he already got there, Austin was dead or unalived. Excuse me. We don't like to use real words like death and destruction. We just like to use unalived. This is the reason why I say YouTube is a bunch of fucking phonies. But anyway, force used by Austin didn't match the force used by Carmel Anthony. We don't know that. But the defense must be pro por proportional. Again, we don't know that. There's no tape. There's no evidence to support that claim. We don't know who was being the first aggressor. We only know that the two brothers came down there and aggressively tried to force his man to move. And he said, F around and find out. Well, he didn't say it in those words. He said, touch me and see what happens. Because he felt like he was being threatened by these two individuals. Now, I don't know what Megan was talking about. I have no idea what Megan was talking about. Like, he was literally sitting there and there was another seat there and he wasn't supposed to be sitting in that seat. And he just took the knife out and just, here, stand still while I don't even know what she was talking about. But let's get back to this, shall we?
They understand the optics of it here because that is important. That's important. It's important because she just let you know the only thing that mattered was their race, because she sees a racial component to it. She sees a racial component to it that she's looking to see how she can use it. How do we use that? And that's exactly what she went to. Left out all the facts now. The only fact that matters is, well, there's a white person dead and there's a black person we can blame for it. And the facts of the matter and the actual events don't matter. Whatever the circumstances were, that doesn't matter. Everyone needs to be mobilized. And that's all you need to hear is a white person seems to have been harmed. And that's all we need to know. Period. Now, of course, she has no shortage of white male suspected white supremacists to join her, who, of course, told the white supremacist line, all they need to know is you're black, and then they go off into a racist screed because, of course, they can't help them. Megyn Kelly sure does know how to find vicious white supremacists and suspected white supremacists to join.
I will repay, their foot shall slide in due time. That is not to say that the boy should not be arrested, prosecuted, imprisoned for life at least, if not more. And,
imprisoned for life at least, if not more. What? Does he even hear himself right now? Does he understand how life works? No, of course not. This is reactionary, emotional, white supremacist vomit and drivel. Of course he's not thinking rationally. White supremacy is not rational, people. It's propaganda. It's not rational. He should be in prison for life, if not more. If not, what's the more? What is the more? You're life and? What are you talking about?
Well, there is double life. So basically, that would be 25 to life, 25 and 25, that's 50. You can do up the maximum sentence however they want. I don't know what the law is in Texas. I do not know what the law is in Texas. But let's just say hypothetically he does 50 years. Or he does life in prison without the possibility of parole. He just stays in prison.
About. I know he's not trying to say that. I think what he may try to come back with later say, well, if more means the death penalty, really? That doesn't apply here, which he knows that too. By the way, 17 years old, life doesn't apply, and the death penalty doesn't apply here either. The death penalty absolutely does not apply here. And yet he's telling you what he wishes. So all the excuses that they have historically given us, all of a sudden that flies out the window because we're white and we say so. Jason, what is it that's upsetting them? What is it that's making them so angry? What is it that's making them so mad right now? I'll let you know what's making them so mad right now, because this is occurring as we go right here. This is a crowdfunding that's been set up by Carmelo's family here. They have a goal of $150,000, and so far they have raised $103,000. If you want to know why it is that things are upsetting and disturbing a bunch of people out there, is because what they're saying to themselves is, this isn't supposed to happen. You are supposed to be able to.
If I will try my best to participate in helping this man attain a decent lawyer. Because once that goal is reached, he can find a decent defense lawyer and they can proceed with the case. Other than that, he is cooked. Man, possibly, maybe. They're not going to give him the death penalty. They're not going to give him the death penalty, which I did look that up. It's legal. It's legal in Texas. So, but he's not getting the death penalty.
Harm black people with impunity. Now, if you are white, we're supposed to gather together and support the cause of white supremacy. And of course, they throw money first and foremost. Now you're seeing a different situation form up here. So yeah, a lot of folks are feeling offended and feeling bad real quickly there. That's exactly what's going on for them there. So these folks are not happy. They're not happy at all at how they're seeing things unfold. And what I'm going to do here, and this is for you, if it falls on your heart to do so, it is up to you. This is the crowdfunding link here. I'm going to go ahead and post this in the chat room to support Carmelo. We'll go ahead and put that up here. There that is in the chat room. If you are so inclined to want to click on the link there.
No, they said that if I'm not mistaken, his bail is $1 million. I might be wrong, but they said that his bail alone is $1 million. He's freaking that's ridiculous in itself. For one kid? For one damn kid? Let's see here. This is that's Fox. Let me see here. Let me see. Yep, I found it. Hold on. 10%. Yeah, I know 10% is $100K, but this is for his this is for his lawyer. So let me find out real quick how much his bail is. Let me find out how much his bail is. And I'm gonna read to you stand your right ground laws, or stand your right ground states.
And in a statement released by the Metcalf family this afternoon, they say their focus is now on
to make sure that he
remains in the Collin County Jail with a $1 million bond. Remains in the Collin County Jail with a $1 million. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Anthony remains in the Collin County Jail with a $1 million bond. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Anthony remains in the Collin County Jail with a $1 million bond. Back to you.
All right, Alex.
$1 million bond. A $1 million bond? So I was right. And it is cash bond only. What black people do you know has $1 million bond? How many you know? Remember that, but I only know one person that is capable enough to bail his son out of jail. who was the young man that killed not Sonya Massey, shoot. Sade Robinson. Y'all remember Sade Robinson, right? Went out on a date with Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Anderson went back to their place, and he unalived her and just carved up her body into 1,000,000 pieces. And his bail was set at $1 million. And his dad was, I believe he was the mayor. I believe that his dad, Mr. Anderson's dad, was the mayor, is a mayor in Milwaukee. Quite interesting. But let's get back to the other video. Let me see.
You definitely can go ahead and do that if you are so inclined to click on it. If it was a superpower unto itself. Once we get to the 90s, Dallas, it's the rise of Dallas. But it's not just the rise of Dallas, so that you all can see a different view of the scene of the incident. Now, if you take a look at this, as you can see, there is the tent where the track kids for Frisco Memorial were sitting. You can see another tent for another school right behind it. I think it says Liberty. So you can see where the tent is, and then you see where they got the blue tarps up there. So what I'm saying is that if Carmelo was sitting on one of these seats down here, as you can see, there's not a your seat. These are bleachers. There's not a your seat. Even if he's not from your school, there's not a your seat. There's plenty of room, but there's more to this story. Don't worry. There's more to it. But as you can see, this was a tent on bleachers. There was no your seat. This wasn't a high school lunchroom and there were only 10 seats and Carmelo grabbed somebody's seat. Megyn Kelly knew this. Now, I'm showing this to you all. Megyn Kelly is supposed to be the news person. She's supposed to be a lawyer, and she's supposed to have worked for Fox News, so she's been supposed to be way more trained than Jason Black, and yet I'm showing you all the pictures publicly available, and does this look like there was a seat to steal or there was a seat to take from somebody? So what the hell is she talking about? They hoped wrong. Asked if they were not white supremacists. What they're hoping is that broadcasts like this that give this to school shooters and affluenza. Isn't that very interesting? Now, remember, this is the same program now that she was talking to suspected white supremacist scum on. She doesn't link this to, school shooters and affluenza, kids driving drunk because they come from rich white families, things like that. She doesn't do any of that here. So all of a sudden, she's not worried about the illegitimacy rate in white society, especially rich white.
Okay, stand your ground laws will apply to Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, India, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan. Damn, Michigan. Shit. Missouri, Montana, Nevada. Oh, shit. There's a stand your ground law in Nevada. Uh-oh. New Hampshire, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, Wyoming. Some states use stand your ground in practice, such as those jury instructions or case laws. Those states are California, Colorado, Illinois, New Mexico, Oregon, Virginia, and Washington. So if you're in any one of those states, watch what you do and watch what you say. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Society, all of a sudden, it doesn't bother her. Isn't that interesting? Same program that she was talking to this clown on. Remember, same one. Oh, but I'm not done just yet. Not done just yet, because this is what she says earlier on. Now, this is what she says, basically defending Elon Musk, but this is what she says earlier on. Now, listen to this. Just in case you all thought that Megyn Kelly was done with her white supremacist ways back in 2024, oh, hell no. This is the same day she was attacking Carmelo Anthony.
I think that's what he's doing. Now, what happens to slowing population? But I know he's like seriously committed ideologically to.
She's talking about Elon Musk and why it is he's having so many bastard kids by so many women. She's talking about Elon Musk, and she's explaining, because she understands that Elon Musk is an Afrikaner and he sees it as bolstering the white population. She never says white population. She says population. She doesn't say what everybody knows. Oh, Elon Musk thinks arrested. Justin Metcalf's whiteness got Anthony Carmelo arrested with no regard for self-defense or the facts. None.
I don't think it's funny at all. But I got a personal story. When I was going to see, we don't know why he had that knife. I know when I was in school younger, I used to live by a halfway house, and it used to be weirdos just around the area. And it was like this weird guy outside. I'm like, damn, I got to leave to go to school. So I had a knife in my book bag, and I was like, if he approached me, anything, he going to get this work. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what his reason was for having that, for protection, whatever.
And
they
haven't allowed us to speak to anyone or to find out what the situation is. And that's what I'm saying. Anybody even making assumptions about it, you're in the wrong already, because you don't even have all the information that you need. And the information that you do have sure sounds suspicious. Why didn't they go to an adult? Why is it you didn't tell us there was a rainstorm out there? Why is it you told us there were seats when these are really just bleachers? Why didn't you tell us those were the football players? Why didn't you tell us that the both of them ran up on him? Why didn't you mention all of that? Why didn't they go get an adult? You should be able to answer all those questions if you're going to take one side or the other. Otherwise, you should just be asking questions. And if you have any frustration, you should be directing that towards the police. Hey.
Or I've heard this: if you take his side, then you have to take his side. What the hell? I can't. That's a tug of war type of situation. I'm not gonna. I side with only one particular side, and that's the side of truth. And what I see is two boys, one is good American citizens, good wholesome American citizens. This is the father speaking. Good wholesome American citizens can do no wrong, no wrongdoing. Maybe, maybe not. But then why do you feel the need to tell somebody that they're sitting in the wrong side or in the wrong seat? That's not your job, sir. Sir, that's not your job. Let alone put your hands on a kid that you had no business putting your hands on. I believe that's the job of security. And this will be a whole lot smoother if security would have been called. If you feel like you were being threatened, then you call security, and security would have escorted that young man possibly to the other side or out the school premises. If that were the case, and none of this would happen. None of it. The young man was the white boy would still be alive. Austin would still be alive to this day if they would have just called security. Not the police, security.
What's the police report? What are the facts? Why are you not giving the evidence? Why are you not giving all the information? Why are you not telling us everything? Because that's what we as black folk, we're the only ones. By the way, I couldn't help but know this. Megan Ku Klux Kelly and the white supremacists are not demanding all the information be released. They're not asking for videotape. Are there any video recordings of it? Any other information? They're not asking for anything. They're just saying, take our word for it. Black kid kills white kid, and we need to lock him up and throw away the key, and the rest of black society needs to shut up whenever we harm somebody. That's all they're saying. So isn't it interesting that we're saying the same thing right now? Where's the rest of the evidence? And they're saying the same thing they always say. We don't need no more evidence. Trust us. Whatever we say, that's what happened.
Right. They just trying to sully his name. But I want to say this too. When we was younger as black kids, our parents always told us when you go to school or whatever, keep your hands to yourself. Obviously, Austin ain't get the same message. Who the hell you think you are to tell some to physically touch somebody? Unfortunately, you met your demise. You met your demise, and you listen. I don't think it's a good thing, but you played yourself. I want you to think for a moment. Anybody who's been through middle school, high school, imagine a kid is in the area. Say somebody even at your lunch table ain't supposed to be there. You're supposed to say, you ain't supposed to be here. And you're going to physically get up. You got nerve, and you're going to get what's ever coming to you. Rest in peace to that child. But listen, you put yourself in harm's way.
Okay. So with that being said, my conclusion to this, we don't know all the facts. This is going to go on quite a while. People are going to hit on this story left and right. I might do a pity back off this. I may not tomorrow, but needless to say, this is a court of public opinion. This ain't a court of facts. This ain't a court of law. This is a court of public opinion. I mean, make all the assumptions that you may want. You may say that he needs to unalive himself. I'm talking about the young man, Carmelo Anthony. He needs to unalive himself because he was foolish of what he had did, what he had done, and he should have just not been there in the first place, or he should have never had a knife in his book bag. That's fine. But the same thing needs to be said about the kid, Austin Metcalf, and his twin brother. What the hell were you doing? You saw a black kid that supposedly didn't need to be there. And it was your job, your obligation, your duty, because you go to that school. No, it ain't your obligation. Your obligation is to call security and sit your white ass down somewhere. Well, it is what it is, right? But we will see. The saga will continue. And I hope that GoFundMe is fulfilled. So, like I said, he can get a decent lawyer. And with that being said, I will see you when I see you. Peace.